Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney,
And I'm MK.
and how are you?
I'm okay. I'm going to be full disclosure with everyone. While we are recording this, it is the local, version of the Tonys here in Buffalo. They're called the Artie Awards. And my best friend, Nicholas, is nominated for Outstanding Actor in a Play. So I have my phone set up with live updates of the awards just in case he wins. But he's up against a kid I used to babysit who's probably the best actor I've ever met. And Nick has fully said he does not think he's going to win because he's up against Sam. And I think Sam's going to win, but I also really, 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 really hope Nick wins just because I adore him. So I'm a little distracted.
I will say, as you were saying that, I just realized we did not mention that the last episode comes out the day of the Tonys.
Oh,
So as of today, good luck to a strange loop. And as of the time this comes out, I hope they've already won everything.
I'll be very honest. I have no idea what's nominated for the Tonys this year.
I know because a lot of the cast come to the bar and so
Right.
I'm friends with them. And I haven't seen A Strange Loop yet. It's like the one show I haven't seen yet. But that entire
Perfect.
cast comes into the bar and they are the nicest people on the planet.
I love that.
And I have no doubt they're also the most talented, just based on what people have said.
I am usually pretty up on the Tonys because of watching things on YouTube, even though I'm not in New York, but because COVID made everything weird and things were opening and closing, and the year that is being judged right now is not necessarily what you would think it is.
Right.
And because I'm 2 years behind on my YouTube videos and I haven't seen a Broadway show, I have quite literally no idea. No idea.
Well, I am most up to date.
Oh, my friend Bobby won Outstanding Choreography. Yay.
Look at him. Congrats.
But yeah, so I don't know. I got nothing about the Tonys, but congratulations to all of the Tony winners who we will know when this comes out, but we at this moment do not know.
And we hope that it's the ones that deserve it and not the ones that are picked because they're fan favorites.
Which sometimes does deserve it.
Okay, but also if you are famous and you are in a Broadway show right now, you are also nominated for a Tony.
Yeah.
And sometimes, yes, deserved. Other times,
I saw this TikTok this past week that said if you ever want to make a theater person really, really angry, just bring up the 2017 Tonys.
That was the year before Hadestown won all the Tonys.
That was the year that Dear Evan Hansen won everything when it absolutely should not have, because Come From Away.
Yes. Okay. I've seen both. I do not hate Dear Evan Hansen like everyone else does. I get it. Just a difference of opinion. I'm pretty sure we've talked about it on the podcast.
Yes, we have. We absolutely have.
Come From Away should win everything for that.
Everything ever.
I don't think that it's still the same. I think there's a couple people that are returning that I just saw in it.
Jen Colella is officially coming back, though. Remember we talked about this? I said something when I found out Come From Away was coming. I was like, I'm pretty sure Jen Colella announced that she was coming back, but then things happened and it got weird in COVID, but she is now coming.
The woman that plays that role, though, currently is phenomenal and also a very nice person. She's kind of awkward in person, but she's very nice. But that cast is great, too. And that show is phenomenal. It's much better than Dear Evan Hansen. And I love the music from Dear Evan Hansen. And I think
for sure
soundtrack. But if you're looking at the show as a whole, Come From Away 1,000% is better.
Correct.
I cried half of the show.
Sure. Speaking of crying, how are you?
I'm not currently crying, which is good. I have not cried lately.
That's so nice.
It is.
I don't remember the last day I didn't cry.
I got very overwhelmed last week and almost cried, and instead I just turned everything in my life off and played a video game. So that's
See,
fine.
my problem is that like I turn everything off, but then I still cry.
I like my brain, not like
Yeah.
physical things. I turn everything, including my brain, off. And I'm like,
Okay.
I won't be talking to people until I feel like I can do that again, emotionally sane, and I move forward. But I was going to tell you something different that did
I
not
don't
have
know.
crying, and I don't know what that was.
I don't know, but I'm really sad that I ruined it because I would
Did
love to
I
know.
talk about ghost hunting on this podcast already?
You have not. I've been waiting for like a month
Oh
to hear about
my
ghost hunting.
God.
You haven't even
I
talked to me. You haven't even talked to me about it not on the podcast.
look, it's been a minute. Things have been in disarray.
I am
Yes.
with you on that. I'm so with you on that.
I went ghost hunting for the first
Yeah.
time ever, and I have now lied to everyone I went with because I told them I already talked about it on the podcast, and I am such a liar because I thought I had. We went to Mid-Orange Reformatory in upper from where I'm at, New York, but like an hour and a half above me, not like where Mary lives.
It's in Westchester County. That's not even.
Yeah, it's
upstate.
not. It's in
It's like
but
barely
it's like
upstate.
half hour above Westchester County. It's not like that far. I forgot what county it's in though. But yeah, so it started out as a boys' reformatory school. And then in the like 80s, I think it turned into a prison, but it was like not a max security prison or anything crazy until 2011. And so we went, I did not see anything. Unfortunately, it kind of built my skepticism. I'm one of those people that like really wants to believe and really doesn't want to believe because, like they always say, the more you believe, the more you put into it, the more you see. And I'm terrified that's going to happen. So
yeah. See, every time I've gone to some place that was supposed to be haunted, like a ghost hunting type thing, I haven't seen anything. All of my experiences with things that may or may not be paranormal just happened like on a random Wednesday night.
no, same. Yeah. Yeah. Like I've seen weird things in my life that I'm like, I don't know, that was super creepy, but that's fine. Like I used to think I saw like this animal in my like what was my sister's room for a while at my parents' house, and then my dog was like not even in the house. And my mom told me I was crazy. She didn't use those words because I was like 7, but basically that's what she said. So I don't know, weird things happen all the time. But I mean it was very creepy because it was an 8-hour overnight. Like it started at 10 p.m. No,
yeah, that's a
8:30
lot.
p.m. and it was like rainy and it was like different dormitories, so you had to like walk outside a lot. So it was super dark, super rainy. And at first you go with the whole group for like, I think it was like 3 hours you went with the group, and then you get free roam and you can like check out a couple of their like ghost hunting equipment. And I really wanted to try the dowsing rods, and everyone else was mad that I got the dowsing rods because they thought they were dumb. I was like, because you had to give your ID over to like check one out, and then you got your ID back when you checked.
Yeah.
But nobody else had their ID, and so I was just like, oh, I really want to try dowsing rods. And then they were like, why did you pick the lamest thing? And I was like, I just wanted to play with them. I thought they were cool, but they've already yelled at me about the next time we go, I'm not allowed to bring dowsing rods or talk about dowsing rods. So fine. But
Whatever.
so we went out there were a couple of dormitories we didn't go into as a group, but we were allowed to go like by ourselves. That is the creepiest place I've ever been. Like I walked in and it felt like the air changed. And I don't know. So a guy hung himself in one of these, and I already have like a predisposition to being creeped out by hangings. I don't know why. I have no like logical reason for that. But so I was like already a bit like skeeved out. And then it was like kind of drizzly, and Leanne was like, it was just 3 of us. And Leanne was like, I'm going to go in. If I go in, will you go with me? And Fiona was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, oh, I am not staying out here by myself.
Right.
And like, and these are like 2 Irish women, so they're tougher than me already.
Yeah, you can't be like a little bitch around Irish women.
Right. So it was, but we were there until like 3:30 a.m. We were like the last group to leave. It's terrifying. So fun. I didn't see anything, but we're going to go. There's a place in New Jersey called White Hill Mansion. And it's supposed to, and I, because I talk to everyone in the entire world, that's what I do. I asked one of our like guides or whatever. I was like, hey, what are some other areas around here? Where have you seen the most activity? And she said White Hill Mansion is supposed to be a really good one. And it turns out you can book private events there, and it's like super cheap. So it's like $50 a person for like 5 hours for a private event, which we paid like $130 for like 8 hours for half a private, half not. So we're gonna go there next. We don't know in the next few weeks.
Just kidding. Sorry. I just got really angry about an award, but it was not the award I thought it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think we're gonna go back in July and try again at this new place. I cannot believe I haven't talked about that yet with all of my work.
I can't either.
That also may have been the week we like took off after.
It was the week we took off because you were going on Friday the 13th and my grandpa died on the 8th.
No, I went on that Saturday the 14th.
Oh, but it was that weekend. It was like
It was
the
that
Friday the
weekend,
13th weekend. That's why you were going to go. And that was the week that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So it was good times. Good times. It was very creepy though. I mean, I was very creeped out the whole time I was there. But we did like stage ourselves and stuff when we left, so we didn't bring anything home just in case.
Oh, yeah. Good.
So yeah, no, we are. Fiona wouldn't even let us in her car until we had been saged, but like as she should.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my creepy real life experience that unfortunately made me a little bit more skeptical than I was prior to going. Speaking of creepy, not real life experiences, we watched Bates Motel this week. Oh my gosh. Oh, I almost forgot our story.
You talked about being saged and you didn't sage this podcast.
I'm so sorry. I did not. Okay. My gosh, these words are really little. Okay. Things you don't have time for. Other people's shit.
Absolutely.
Crazy shit. Bullshit. Stupid shit. And fake shit. And shit that has nothing to do with you.
Yes.
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 That is our.
Which also kind of feels a lot like how I feel about this episode.
Oh my gosh. Truly. Let me call up Norman and read this card to him.
Facts.
I want to back off. But yeah, so here we are on our new platform, Peacock Premium, probably.
Yes.
It is not terribly expensive. It's, I think, Mary Kate, if you didn't see Sci-Fi Sunday, it's $5 a month on Peacock Premium with ads, $10 a month without, or you can pay $100 for the year. I apparently have been paying with ads for a while because I don't know the last thing I watched on Peacock. So that's fine. So it's worth it though. This season I think is going to be stellar. And
I mean, also Real Housewives of Dubai is coming to Peacock. So like,
okay.
Just kidding. That was just what the newest thing on this platform was this week. And my mom was like, why are you watching this? I go, I'm not. It's just what's there.
I've never watched Real Housewives.
No.
I don't know anything. But we are on season 2, episode 2 of Bates Motel, which is almost as scary as Real Housewives. And this is titled Shadow of a Doubt. And I will tell you now, this is one of my trivia facts, that it is a reference to another Hitchcock film that was named Shadow of a Doubt. I have not seen it. I do not know anything about it. I'm so sorry.
Same.
It was rated 8 out of 10. Fine.
Yeah.
Only strong feelings about that. It aired on March 10th, 2014, which I mean, that was my boss's birthday.
March 10th?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, yeah, because it's a new season. I was thinking we moved way past March, but that was last season.
We are 2 episodes in now of the new season.
Correct.
And on this day, this was just sad things. A few days before the 10th is when the Malaysia airline went missing.
Right.
So they were still searching as of March 10th and not finding anything. As we all know, 8 years later.
Still not found anything.
Right. We are still not finding anything. And also, William Clay Ford died, who was the last one of the original like Ford people.
Oh, that is sad.
Hmm. And we have the same director, we have the same writers. We do
Do,
not, yes,
do we have a new top song or movie?
yes, because I forgot how to read my own handwriting.
Oh, okay.
The number one song, we do not have a new song. It is
Okay.
still Happy by Pharrell.
Yeah.
Shocking, I know.
I
And
know.
but the number one movie is one I have not seen and I've always wanted to see, Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Oh, like the cartoon?
Yes. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I
I
think
heard it was really cute.
it, from what I remember, it was cute. It didn't stick with me, obviously.
Mhm. I don't know that it really stuck with anyone, but it was the number one movie on March 10th of 2014. So,
That
um,
was like the last week of being 21 for me.
I remember that coming out because I was in college and I was living with Caitlin at the time, and they were all really stoked about watching it. And I didn't really know what was going on. And I was at work and they watched it. And they were like, it was so good. And I was like, great. I don't know anything still. So
So sad.
I would like to watch it one day, but it's just like one of those things that's on my list.
Yeah.
Um, and since there are no real new updates, no new people, no new directors, writers, I do have a, a fan or not fan review of this episode.
Oh, okay.
This is the start of it. I didn't write the whole thing because they had a lot to say. The drug trash town stuff is taking over a prequel series about Norman Bates, one of the best film psychopaths in movie history. Really? Rated 5 out of 10.
But I really liked this episode.
I also liked this episode. That's why I found this review so comical because they are mad when they go through
Maybe
the
it's
episode.
because I just am glad that we're getting more answers on the drug stuff.
They don't like that the prequel, like going more into their comment, they don't like that the prequel is not just about Norman Bates and his life like the movie is. And I'm like, that's the whole point of this show, is to not be just about Norman Bates, but to expand on his life. So
What the fuck is wrong with people?
this person's a moron. I'm sorry if this is you. It's not. You're not rewatching this if you gave it 5 out of 10 and you're not listening to us.
But also, like, even if you are, fuck you.
Mary Kate's okay with us losing listeners.
Only that one person.
Just that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say as a preface to my notes, this episode, as much as I enjoyed it, jumped around too much for my liking, and I feel like I'm taking notes on Dead Lightning again. So,
okay.
it is a lot of jumping and a lot of different storylines at one time.
I can see that.
Albeit good storylines,
Yeah.
important, just maybe spread it out a bit, or like tell me more things in each scene before you move to the next one. It's not that important to break it up as much as you did.
Okay.
So the recap is all about Blair Watson and Bradley. That is all they talked about in the recap. And I was like, excellent.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. And I was like, we're going to learn stuff about Blair and Bradley, which we do. So even if you like didn't read the intro, I never do until after, you would know what this episode's about. So it starts off very dark. The lighting is very dark, which is a great way to start this episode because of how we ended the last one. And Bradley is sleeping in the basement with all of the taxidermy animals.
Such a weird place.
Right. And I was like, okay, cool. And Norman goes down to talk to her, and she's like, I need this. Thanks for letting me stay here. And he's like, holds up. He's like, I have questions. Like, I can't help you unless I know you're doing the right thing. And I was like, okay, Norman. First of all.
Oh, he didn't really say the right thing. He just said, how am I supposed to help you if I don't know what you did? Which I get, because it's way easier to help someone if you have the full story, but also like.
Well, he said, I need to know what you're doing makes sense.
Yes, he did
And
say that.
yes, and that is true.
But to be fair, Norman, for all his crazy, is basically like, hey, you just got out of a psych ward. You're unstable and you're now trying to run away and change your identity. And I just need to know if what you're running from is like, my mom is mad at me, or like, I blew someone up. Like, so to be fair, fully support Norman's line of questioning.
But also, if Norman is questioning your sanity, we've got a problem.
Yeah.
This girl.
There were actually more than one moment in this episode where I was like, no, yeah, Norman's right.
Norman's the sane one. And that is insane. Whew. So we pop over to Norma, who's at her gynecologist appointment. And she just starts asking her gyno about blackouts. She's like, she was like, what could cause that if it's not physical? You've had all the tests run. And she's like, and she was like,
How
are you
fucking
having
awkward is
blackouts,
that?
Norma? And she's like, no, it's my sister. I'm worried about her. She's like, that's not my like area of expertise. And like,
let me call you a psychiatrist.
right. And like, to be fair, I have also asked my gynecologist questions that are not her expertise, but it's like, this physical thing happened to me and I know you went to med school. And she's like, I went to med school, so I vaguely know how to tell you to like where to start. And then I would do what she said and it fixed everything. But like, I also, well, now my gynecologist is also the one who prescribes my anxiety medication. So I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm the one who goes to the one doctor for everything.
Yeah.
But she's like, it could be mental if it's not physical. And I just want to say, this scene made it seem like that was the biggest revelation that could have happened. And I was like, that is literally the only option. Like,
if it's not physical, it's mental. Like, those are your two options.
That's
if you're having a blackout and there's nothing wrong with your physical brain, you have a mental illness. Like, there's literally no other option.
Yes.
And whether your mental illness is like actually something that people would consider an illness, or like just trauma triggered PTSD type stuff, that's still quite literally mental illness.
Right. Exactly. So
10 out of 10.
I was like, that wasn't as big of a reveal as you thought it was, guys. But okay, we'll move forward from there. Yeah. So then we pop over to the murder scene, because last we left off of the episode, Bradley had shot Gil for killing her father and probably also for being a creep. I've decided that's also why he got shot, but mainly for killing her father.
Yeah, mostly for killing her father.
Right. So Remo and Dylan stopped by because they've been apparently trying to get in touch with Gil and could not get in touch with him.
Which is fair.
He's being pulled out in a body bag. And turns out Romero at this point is on the warpath. Because
now, at this moment,
yes,
I couldn't again figure out what Romero's fucking loyalties are.
I can't either, because he's like, if somebody did this to Gil, they must have really meant it, essentially. And then he's like, but we have to figure out who did this and take care of it now. And like, even by the end, I haven't figured it out, because like the whole thing is like, this is part of war.
I think I have figured it out, but I'll save it.
We'll save that. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's just like, he's ready to take out whoever did this. And at this point I was like, oh, I assume he's working with Gil. But then moving forward, I'm like, I don't know. And
my note says, okay, so Romero is definitely involved in the weed thing. Does that mean he's on the Gil side and Zach and Mr. Creepy were on the Blair's dad side?
Right. And just put Bradley's in danger.
Well, usually.
And so we go back for a split second to the doctor, and Norma's leaving and sees a poster for a musical.
Oh, no. Here's the
Yeah.
thing. It's worse than that. She wasn't at the doctor. She was at the library and she was buying a stack full of books that were all about mental health and epilepsy and all this shit. And I was like, he is 17 and you're just now starting to think that this might be a question you should
Just
have.
kidding. I do have trivia about this, so I did know this. I just forgot.
I was livid.
But we see a poster for a musical audition, and it's like, got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And then we go back to the weed farm, and they're just like chit-chatting about what's happened. This is like the section where we just jump. And
Yes.
they're at the weed farm and they're like, hey, the other guys are trying to start a war with us. And Dylan's like, oh no, they're going to start a war with us. And it's like, all right. And then it goes away to
Yeah.
Jericho.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I was wrong. It wasn't, this is the part where,
Yes.
like, it wasn't Gil that was at her grave. It was this
Okay.
guy.
Okay. So here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't interrupt you last week because I thought maybe I was wrong, but I recognized that man and his mustache, and he's very distinct mustache. And so when you said it was Gil, I was like, oh, damn, I really thought it was that guy. And then I couldn't figure out who that guy was. And so then when he saw his face today, before the scene even started, before I know who the character is, I pause it and I go, Mom, who is that guy? She was like, oh, shit, that's that guy. He's in like everything. I was like, I know. What's his name? So I just kept staring at him until I put it together, because it wasn't like I just knew that I knew him. I knew who that guy was. And I was like, that's Gary Clark, the fucking hospital shooter who shot Derek Shepard.
No.
So I knew his face. And I was like, I was right. It wasn't Gil. It's fucking Gary Clark.
You are correct.
I got really heated about it, but
And
only because he shot Derek Shepard.
Yes, I did consider talking about him in this episode, but I really think he's going to be a bigger part in next week's episode based on how he was kind of introduced throughout this one. So I thought I'd
Which
say
is fair.
Bigger.
Which I was wondering, I was worried. I was like, she's probably going to talk about it in this episode, and then I'm not going to get to go on my Gary Clark rant. So I'm glad you didn't.
I'm glad I could provide that opportunity for you. That is what I'm here for. Yes. So this is her dad.
Yes.
Who
is the head of the other gang.
Yes. And he is like, I promise I didn't kill Gil. But he's also like, also, you're putting out a lot more effort to figure out who killed Gil than you are my daughter, because she's just a teacher. And he went off. And Romero was like, oh, I have to do something now about this.
So this is kind of where I settled on what my theory about Romero is.
Okay.
But I will save it for the end if you would rather I do that.
I would rather save it to the end.
Okay.
I think I have a few more thoughts before the episode's over
Okay.
about Romero.
That's fair.
But yes, so then we go home to the Bates house.
Yes.
God bless, poor Norma. I have so many Normas in my office that it's very hard for me to say Norma. She is just so concerned about poor Norman. And she's decided she wants him to do the musical with her. And
The way she introduced that, I was like, what the fuck, Norma?
She sounds like a crazy person. She is too excited. She's acting like everything is sunshines and daisies. And Norma is like, this is not what I want.
She was like, you used to sing all the time, and then started singing like nursery rhymes. And it's like, he is not still 3, man.
Right. He is 0% interested in this. But saved by the phone, Bradley's mother calls, kind of. And Dylan walks in right before this. Then the phone call happens, and Bradley's mother calls to ask Norman if he's heard from Bradley. And Dylan, like, can read Norman, I guess. And
I was like, Norma has to know he's lying. Like, Norma seemed like something was up, but then she didn't. But Dylan definitely did.
So that was my thing. I was like, Norma always catches when he's, like, in a weird spot. And she didn't notice this time. Like, immediately when someone was like, hey, this person you've been fighting with is missing, Norma should have been like, oh crap, like another one.
Right. But she just hated Bradley so much that she like didn't even care.
But Dylan loves Bradley so much, so he went there instead. And he was like, no, you definitely know. So he goes, so naturally after he gets off the phone with Bradley's mother, he goes up to his room and Dylan pops in and he's like, you know something about Bradley? And he's like, no. And he's like, are you sure? And he's like, no, maybe she's already dead. And I was like,
He was so fucking casual about it. He was like, you know,
Right?
she already tried to kill herself. Like, she might just be dead. And I was like, the fuck?
I was like, if I wasn't already like suspicious of you, I mean, obviously I know that he didn't kill her because she's alive in his basement. But
Yeah.
like, if I didn't know that, I would assume he did it. Like, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that when he does bad things, he's nervous afterwards. And when he doesn't, he's awkwardly casual about other things that he shouldn't be.
That's, yeah.
So, like, what
But
else?
then Dylan left the room and Norman's face when he like realized he knew more about Bradley than Dylan did pissed me off so much. That fucking smile. I wanted to smack him in the face.
No, every time, every time. But then we pop over to the supermarket where he's creepily shopping for Bradley. He looks like so awkward standing there. And
That's what my note literally says, Norman's so fucking awkward, I can't.
he is. And he gets everything he needs or whatever he's checking out. And the like person's asking, she says like, oh, who are you shopping for? And he's like, oh no, I'm shopping for my mom. And she's like, oh, you're a dying breed. And he's like, I mean, aren't we all? I already said, I guess that's what we're all doing. And she was like, what? He's like, dying. Like, well, you're not wrong.
Here's the thing. I only didn't find that awkward because I make casual conversation about death all of the time. But also, I should probably be institutionalized.
But also, like, a lot of the times you'll like laugh after it, or you make it like very obvious that it's not.
Oh, yeah, no, it's always a joke.
Like,
But,
it's
like-
an off the cuff joke. Like, it's very clear with him. He's just like, we're dying. It's like, okay.
I mean, sometimes I do just remind everyone that as soon as you turn 26, your cells are actually aging backwards. And so you are dying from the time you're 26.
Excellent. I'm dead now, probably.
Unfortunately, not quite yet for me.
But then we go back to Remo and Dylan, and we learn that there's this guy named Zane showing up. And they're like, Dylan's like, who is this? And Remo is not pleased.
Zane's a little bitch.
But he is not pleased.
No.
And then it turns out that he's stepping in for Gil. And he's decided he wants to figure out what got Gil killed because he has no doubt it's the other side. The other side, that is the only option. They've done it. We have to figure out what's going on before war starts.
Yeah.
So basically he starts a war. Because he's a moron.
Yeah.
We go back to Romero, who says, I'm sorry, I keep like plugging in and unplugging my computer because when it's plugged in for too long, it starts like, my fan starts whirring.
Oh, my fan just whirs from the time I turn it on.
Well, I just don't want mine to do that. But then it starts dying again. So I have to plug it back in. Are we plugged in? Okay. Anyway, so we go back to Romero and he's like, we have a break in the Blair Watson case. And I was like, who is he arrested that's not the killer? Because obviously it's not Norman. And turns out he's arresting some guy named Kyle that we do not know, except the part where we know he's not the killer.
I have one note about this scene, and it is completely unrelated to Kyle, and it is completely unrelated to the plot. It's mostly just related to the fact that I have now become sexually interested in Sheriff Romero over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and when he kicked the door in,
I did not know where we were going when you started lying. I was very confused. I am less shocked now. I was very confused.
He kicked the door in, and I was like, okay, yes.
Bless.
Yeah.
Bless.
And then I was like, oh my God, this must be Eric. And then I was like, just kidding. Nope, it's not, apparently. It's
I
not
think
Eric.
his name may be Eric.
No,
Remember
his
we
name
had
is
this?
Kyle.
No. Romero's.
No, Romero's name is Alex.
Alex?
Yeah. I don't know who Eric is, but that does actually check out with some of the things that we learned in this episode that, yeah, why not?
Sure. Throw it in there. It's good.
Gary, Gil, Kyle.
Jerry.
I'm just naming all the men that Blair's apparently sleeping with. Jerry Martin,
Yeah.
Jerry, Kyle, Gil, Eric,
Almost
Norman.
Good times. Good times. So then we go back to the Bates house, and Norman is frantically digging through his room.
No. He's digging through Dylan's room. Did you not notice the posters on the wall?
I did not. I was like taking notes during this.
Yeah. He was frantically digging through Dylan's room and he found an envelope of Dylan's money from the weed farm and he robbed Dylan to pay for Bradley. And I was pissed.
That makes so much more sense than what I thought was happening. So I am glad you watched that while I was writing things down. I cannot do two things at once all of the time.
That's why I paused the episode so much.
Yes.
I'm a terrible person to watch TV with.
Sounds like it. So then Norma is trying to find Norman, and she ends up going downstairs and almost finding Bradley instead. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to find Bradley. But also, like, if she found Bradley, that kind of would have been the penultimate, not penultimate, what's the word I'm looking for? Essentially the big climax of the episode, or then it would have been over.
Yeah.
Because, like, we couldn't have everything else happen after that. But fine. And so Norman hears her finally downstairs and, like, rushes downstairs. And Norma's like, hey, I was looking for you. And he's like, let's go upstairs. It's like, don't need to be down here. You don't like the basement. Let's go. And I was like, you are very obviously trying to get her out of there. I'd never have before.
Right.
So fine. But then she starts telling him about this musical again that she's going to get them to audition for. And she's like, everybody sings. It's fine. I was like, everybody does not sing, Norma.
And
Like,
no, and
that's not true.
no, yeah, it was, you know who really doesn't sing? Norman. Ooh.
And the thing is, like, he probably is actually a really good singer because he has been. I mean, he was the star of August Rush, which I know is musical instruments, not musical vocal.
Yeah.
That he's like a really good singer because the best worst singers are good singers.
That's fair. I think he probably just can't sing.
I don't know. I mean, this wasn't good.
No, it was not good.
This was not enjoyable. But it brought him so much joy, and I was like, maybe this is his outlet. Who knows? And this is where I want to talk about outfit choices. This is like one of the scenes that brought to my attention how much of just in a season and 2 episodes we have seen Norma's progression. Because when she first, and they've done that a lot with like clothing, which I mean,
yeah,
obviously because she's a woman, that's what they choose to do a lot of times in showing progression in women is changing their outfits and hairstyles. But that's what they did here. And she started out.
I mean, to be fair, while a little sexist, is also kind of true because like my outfits and hairstyles definitely change with my progression as a human.
Right, but it was more of the like stereotypical, we go from being like really tough and rugged Norma to like, everything's fine, I'm okay, I'm that 50s housewife now, and everything is okay. And so that was a little,
yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with using it to an extent. Like at this point, she should be wearing like solid business suits with a sharp haircut and like, if she progressed as a human, but she progressed backwards as a human and forwards as a character. is kind of how I took it, because she was so strong in the beginning, but also we hated her in the beginning because we thought this was all her fault. And now that we don't hate her, she's become this like stereotypical 50s housewife. I mean, she wears the 50s housewife dresses and wears the
I mean,
headband.
to be fair, in the first season she did too, but it was much more like June Cleaver, like buttoned up kind of 50s housewife, and now it's way more like Mary Tyler Moore,
Right.
like free 50s housewife.
So I just think that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I do like that it shows her as like a 50s housewife that's more set in the time of when this is
Supposed to.
at. Yeah, it fits in with that modern, what is it called?
I don't know. Update.
Did your friend win?
He did not. The kid I babysat won, who I knew was going to win.
Well, that's nice for him, though.
Yeah. I'm so sad for Nick, but
I know.
But now I have my update and I can stop checking every message that comes into my phone.
We're back to your favorite. Here comes Romero. And at first I thought, okay, so he's grilling this guy Kyle. And I was like, apparently this guy was also sleeping with Blair, but he like had been her ex for a while, it seems.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm not going to shame her for sleeping with whoever she wants. I'm going to shame her for the people that she chooses to sleep with. She has the worst choices. They are all criminals. They are all dirtbags. They're not even like nice criminals.
I mean, Kyle does say like, why are you going to be mad at me for sleeping with her? She's the one with daddy issues.
Right. But like, he's probably not a great guy. We know Phil's a dirtbag.
Yeah, no, I wrote Kyle is absolutely gross. And Blair is also apparently quite the trollop.
Right. Which would be fine if she made better choices.
Right.
Like,
I'm not shaming the number of partners, the quality.
Right. 1,000%. 1,000%. She like went out of her way to find red flags to sleep with. Like, she left her, like, she just made everything worse because she's sleeping from
like she's sleeping with multiple criminals and also apparently a 17-year-old.
Yes. Like, she's not doing great.
No, I do not approve.
That's this week's PSA. Sleep with who you want if they're not terrible people.
Yes.
Where was I? I went off on a rant there.
After
Bradley and Norman. For a brief moment, we are with them, and Norman is dyeing Bradley's hair, and I find her interesting as a brunette. She's a different character as a brunette. Definitely, I mean, obviously she's hardened. She tried to kill herself, and now here we are.
Yeah.
But like, also, I mean, one thing about having dark hair, it makes you look paler already. And so that adds to her like pallor of like looking a little more sickly because she's not wearing makeup, and so it's making her look a little more which is a good choice for this scene.
Yeah. This scene was really hard to watch because I felt so angry at her for like kind of gaslighting Norman a little bit, because like everything that she said negative about him after they like slept together, she was basically like taking it all back in this moment. And she was like, I always knew there was something special about you. Like, you're so great. But also it's like very obvious that she's just so fucked up. Like so mentally abused and so unable that it's like hard to be mad at her as an adult looking at this poor kid who needs help. But like, if I was also a teenager, if I was like I get why Emma hates her so much, because like she's clearly so bad for Norman. Like she's horrible to him. But like as an adult, I'm like, oh, this girl needs help.
4 months is not enough time.
No.
But also, wherever she was not good for her.
No.
New location. But yeah, so we have dyed our hair a la every woman who has run away from anything. And we're back with Dylan and Remo. And we learn that Zane is Gil's brother.
No.
Yes.
Zane is the big boss's brother.
Oh, I thought they were talking about Gil at that time.
No, he was like, Zane is the big boss's brother, like the kid who like joins the family business and has no fucking business being there.
Right. I still got that concept. I just thought it was because he was Gil's brother. I missed that part. Yeah. Turns out that he has been arrested because he was speeding with a car full of weed.
And
Like
okay.
a moron.
And Dylan, like this was the scene where I realized that Remo and Dylan are my favorite people on the show because they're the only ones with any brain. Because they're like, yeah, we work in a crime syndicate basically, and we do some fucked up things, but like we don't draw attention to ourselves. And fuck this guy.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, here comes Kojak now," and then I like had to stop for a minute because I was like, "Did they say Kolchak?" And then I was like, "No, they said Kojak, the other one."
Yeah.
Other show that's similar but not. Yes.
Similar names, but really not similar at all, actually.
Right. Well, I mean, they're both like detective-esque.
Yeah.
And so Zane drives up for this, and he turns out he opens his trunk and he has this guy named Johnny B, who works for the Ford family, who we've learned is the name of the other family.
Mm-hmm. I said, what the actual fuck, Zane, when he opened his trunk and there was a human in it.
Yeah. And so they give him about half a second to say if he killed Gil or not. And they're like, we're going to use you as an example. And by them, I mean Zane. It's like, we're going to use you as an example. And just shoots him immediately. Doesn't give him time to like answer anything, doesn't give any negotiation power, just shoots him. And I was like, great, we've started a war.
I was so mad. I was like, Remo and Dylan do not need this kind of fucking psycho in their lives. Like what?
And you can see in their face, they felt the same way. They're like, this is not what
No, it was bullshit.
Terrible. So then he's like, drop off the body at Nick Ford's house, which is Blair's dad. And apparently the head of this other organization. So yeah, cool. Now we go back to the Bates home, and Norma is going through Dylan's room and finds.
No, now she's in Norman's room. She's making Norman's bed for him.
Did I say Dylan?
You said Dylan.
I meant Norman.
Okay,
my bad.
Yeah, she's making Norman. She's making Norman's bed for him, like a sane mother.
And she finds the pearls and the picture of Blair Watson. And at this point, in her deniability, honestly, I might would have done the same thing. Just put it right back where it was. Like,
I literally was like, yeah, Norman, your little boy's a fucking creep. And then she put it back and I go, no, you're just gonna, what?
She knows. And she doesn't know how to handle it yet. And so she's just not. And you know what? I get it. She should have handled it 15 years ago, probably, but she didn't. And now we're here and it's too much.
Yeah.
So fair, Norma. I don't know how to help you. I'm going to go to the audition that Norma's thrilled to be at. And it turns out they've been there for 1,000 years. Yes.
Also, she's holding his hand walking around the audition, and I'm just like, ew, let go of him. Stop.
Yeah. I think she is just trying to keep him as close as possible now for reasons different than I felt in the beginning.
That's fair. I do have one logistical complaint about the audition that is just, there was like 1 million people there.
Yes.
And there is not a chance in hell, heaven, or earth that an audition with that many people signed up would let you sing a full song. The most you're getting is a 32 bar cut, and I'm sorry, but that is not a theater on any fucking plane that would have let those women sing all of those songs.
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
I was
But we do
No.
learn shortly after they get there that this means Bradley's going to miss her voice. And Norman loses his mind. He storms out. And Norma, of course, follows him. And she's like, what are you doing? You've embarrassed me. What is happening? And he goes off on her.
And he was so right and so hurt that it was painful to watch.
He is, but also, she's also not wrong.
No, I know, but like, he's like, because he was like, you get these ideas in your head about what we're going to do to be happy, and then I just have to go along with it, or else you'll have a breakdown. And like, I don't know how much closer you want me to be. I work with you. I live with you. I don't have any friends but you. I sleep 6 inches away from you. What other closeness do you want from me? And I was like, if only every single 17-year-old boy with a weirdly like incestual mother would just say that.
Yes, but also, preferably, they would not also be murderers who don't
Well,
murder people.
I mean, listen, preferably, we can't always get what we want.
True. But she then breaks down and just keeps, she says, I want to protect you. And I thought that she was going to tell him that he killed Blair Watson. And instead, she just started saying, I'm so scared over and over. And I was like,
when she just kept saying, I'm so scared, I said, Norma, pull your fucking self together for God's sake.
But like, it seemed like the alternative was her telling him everything. And
okay. Now here's the thing. I fully get that he's the one doing the fucked up things. Absolutely. I don't have sympathy for her because you got 2 options. Okay, you have 3 options. 1, stop protecting him from the law enforcement and do what you actually need to do to protect him from himself and lock him up.
mm-hmm.
Option 2, be honest with him about the things that you think he's doing and let him work together to cope with it. Option 3, gaslight your child into feeling bad for you by emotionally love bombing them, because even though they're doing something wrong, you somehow make yourself a victim of something that you're not a victim of because you have no emotional control.
I really thought you were going to say option 2 was put it down. Glad that's not it. Glad that wasn't in your list.
No, because I get not killing your own child, but like option 1 and 2, way better than what she's going with.
Solid options.
I personally go with option 1.
Right.
I understand option 2. Option 3 makes me no longer have sympathy for Norma and the peril she's in.
I do understand that. I do so feel bad for her. Even though I understand I shouldn't, I can't help it. It is what it is. And then he's like, let's do this. And he sends Norma back inside. And he does what he probably should have done in the beginning, but he calls Dylan. Dylan has to fix everything.
Well, I'm glad he called Dylan, because at first I was afraid he wasn't going to. And I was like, poor Bradley's going to get screwed because of Norma.
But I was also a little concerned because of where Dylan's at with everything right now. I was like, is he going to take her to the bus stop? Or is he going to try and hide her? Or is he going to try and give her over?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, these people are climbing ladders. And right now he's not at that level that everyone else is. But that's not to say that's not where he's going.
Dylan's too pure.
Okay. So we leave off with Dylan learning that he's supposed to take Bradley to the bus. We pop back over to the audition. And I want to say, Vera Farmiga's voice, incredible.
Yeah.
It had such a theatrical voice. And then to look up if she's done any theater work. Not that I
know. I don't know. I know she's definitely done some stage work, but I don't know.
but she has like the whole persona you need, like very bold. And I know, like, I mean, she's an actress, but it's different. Like theatrical acting is different than
Yes.
TV acting for sure.
Yes,
And
yes.
so I always wondered,
She, I don't think anything she's done is musical though. She was in The Tempest. She was in a show called Good, which is not a musical. She was in Taking Sides.
mhm.
She was in Secondhand Smoke, and then she was in Under the Blue Sky. None of those are musicals.
That's interesting. But yeah, I thought she did great. I would love to see her on Broadway.
Yeah.
And then we go back to your bestie Romero, and he busts up in Kyle's jail cell, and he's just like, "Hey, we're charging you with Blair's death." And he's like, "On what charges?" He's like, "Somebody has to be charged. Now you're the one being charged."
And
Like,
he was like, you are a scumbag and you should have died a long time ago. And I need this case closed for my own safety. So fuck off.
right. So
I was like, okay, saves Alex's ass, saves Norman's ass. I should be rooting for it, but it kind of gives me the ick.
it definitely gives me the ick because, like, I don't know. That's another reason I'm like, where does he fall in line? Like, you can't play both sides in this kind of family.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has to fall somewhere. And I just not there yet. But so we have that really quickly, and then we go to the diner with Bradley, and it turns out that he did indeed take her to the bus stop, and he tells her to write a suicide note because that's going to be easiest for everyone, and that she's got to disappear for her own safety, and also not for his safety, even though he did not say that.
Oh yeah, no. I was like, okay, Dylan, way to figure it out. Quick thinking.
Yeah. So they chat for a bit about that, and then we go back to the motel. And the lie Norman had said was that he had to go to the movie with Emma. So we get back at Emma's at the hotel, and I was like, "Oh crap! Everything is about to like hit the fan." Nope, no mention. Somehow he got away with this one.
Whew. That was where I was going as well.
Yeah, I was like, "This is strange," but it turns out it's the word's gotten out that the arrest has been made of Kyle, and it's essentially because he doesn't want a war to happen, even though too bad,
Yeah.
Zane's in charge, so everything's going to hell in a handbasket. But it's fine. And after we talk about the arrest, we go back to the cafe one more time.
Hold on, one thing. In this moment, after they talk about the arrest, Norma's really excited about it. And so like she gives Emma this hug, and like Emma has a moment and she just looks at Norman and she's like, your mom is like a really good person. And I was like, oh, Emma, you sweet thing. You are an angel. The world does not deserve you. You deserve better than these fucking people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We go back to the cafe and we see the buses going to Boise, Idaho, which is plenty far because I guess it's like a split over, so whatever. And then Dylan shows up to talk, and Norman's outside, and he's like, I did it, everything's fine. She's on the bus. And then he gives Norman a note, and it just says, you're the best person I've ever known.
And it made me sad for Dylan because obviously like Dylan has feelings, and like watching Dylan watch Bradley get on the bus was really sad. But I said, Dylan, I am so sorry that your heart is breaking, that she would have dragged you down.
It's for the best. Absolutely.
And do I hate everyone who says that to me? Yes. And so I think that's why I feel even worse for Dylan.
Yes, absolutely. And we think it's over, but we end up at this mechanic shop. And all of a sudden, this guy walks up we've never seen before. And he's like, I'm looking for the Bates Motel. And he's like, oh, it's down the road, but too bad there's a vacancy. And he's like, it's fine. I'm Norma's brother. Dun, dun, dun.
I said, no fucking way. I freaked out.
So I accidentally got that spoiled for me because I thought we were on episode 3, and so I read the description of episode 3 to see if that's where we were, and I was like, I don't any of this that's happening. That's when I
Yeah.
remember episode 2.
Well, here's the thing. We've been asking since the beginning of the show how on earth they were going to manage to drag it out for 5 seasons. And they keep fucking finding a way.
Sure do. Things keep happening. Yeah, so that's that. Who do you want to punch in the face?
God, so many people.
So many people.
Truly, so many. But I think Zayn,
Mm-hmm.
because he's got a douchebag haircut, a douchebag name,
Yeah.
a douchebag car, and he's just a fucking douche.
Yeah, I would have gone with him, but since you have, I guess I'm gonna pick Bradley.
That's also fair.
She is really tearing apart the Bates family from the inside. Dylan is the only hope that Norma wants to help, but she's not really as useful as she is. I'd like her to be as a mother, but Dylan is his one like true hope, and is being torn apart from the inside. So I might go with Bradley this round. So who's your MVP?
Dylan. That was a tough one. But Sheriff Romero is not my MVP, only because I'm still not 100% sure.
Since you picked Dylan, I will pick Sheriff Romero. I do not trust him, but I do appreciate the fact that he's really trying to keep the town from going to war. And he's trying to keep stability and everything, whether it's for the right or wrong reasons. At least he's trying to keep everything stable.
Yeah.
Which at this point in this town is all we can really ask for. Do you have any predictions?
I don't know that I have a prediction, but I do have a theory that I said I would talk about.
Yes. Tell me the theory.
So I think that Romero is actually neutral in the gang war. And part of it is I'm currently directing a production of Romeo and Juliet. So my brain was very stuck in that land. And I have this like feeling that Romero is like the Prince Aeschylus.
Okay.
So like he's in charge of everything. And the war does nothing but make his life miserable. But he can't get rid of either family because both families are profitable and good for the town and the things that he cares about. And so he needs both of them to continue to have their like battle, because when they're battling, prices are going up, things are going well in the town, there's protection, he has an easy job. But then anytime somebody steps a toe out of line, he's the one who has to deal with it. And like he's the Prince Aeschylus of this town.
And also, if there's no balance between the two families battling, one family would rule everything, and he would no longer.
And he would not be in power anymore. He's the Prince Aeschylus.
Fair. Okay, that's fair. I can get behind that. I can get behind that for sure.
Yeah, I could be entirely wrong, and it could just be that I watched this when I finished rehearsal today. But like that's
fine. Yeah, I think that's a great theory. I did spoil something else for me already, so I will not speak of it. I cannot
listen.
Prediction today.
I have spoiled all 10 seasons of Stargate for myself. By that I mean I've just already watched the show. So like, if you spoil one episode for yourself like that.
Well, I think I've spoiled like a season and a half.
I almost told you something about something that happens in season 7 of Stargate on Sunday. So like, don't feel bad.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So we won't talk about it. I don't have a prediction today because I need more to go off of.
That's fair.
Some fun facts / trivia. The shows that were referenced, the show that they auditioned for is South Pacific. And the show that Norma's audition was from, she did Maybe This Time from Cabaret.
My go-to classic audition song is from South Pacific.
I didn't even know about it till today. So what that?
I will not sing it in this moment.
Good choice because we don't have the rights to it. So
Correct.
yes. So I have a couple of trivia facts for you. The Hilltop Cafe, where they meet up to go to the bus stop, is the same one that the main girl works at in the Butterfly Effect, and they don't even change the name of it or anything. Like same name and everything. So
All right.
fun fact, I've not seen that movie in 1,000 years, so I did not remember that, but it's a good movie.
Same.
I recommend it. And my favorite piece of trivia is about the library. One of the books Norma purchased is called Call Me Crazy, which is a real life book written by Anne Hesh, who in the remake of Psycho plays Marion Crane.
I like it. And
I love
Hesh,
a good
and
connection.
Hesh is very open about her mental illness.
Yes. And I love a good connection, you know, my favorite. So
I love that.
yeah, those are my fun facts. That's that. This is your Thriller Thursday. And if you have any thoughts or theories about Ramiro,
Yes.
we would love to hear them. Please email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com, or you can tweet us, DM us, whatever you do on social media. Anywhere you can find us at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CECloud13.
And you can find me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And don't forget to tune in for our next episode of Sci-Fi Sunday.
Bye.